Dude, if there's a cheat code to get into a deep meditative state, this is it. The meditation I want to teach you is called Wim Hof Breathing. And it seriously is one of my favorite meditations. There was about a year and a half that I did this meditation every single morning. And honestly, one of my favorite parts about it is that you come away feeling so good. So Wim Hof breathing is a cycle of 3 different parts, and then you do multiple rounds of those 3 parts. The first part is hyperventilation. So you're trying to take in more oxygen than your body needs. You get really full inhales, and then you don't exhale all the way. And then the second part is hypoventilation. So after you've breathed in too much oxygen for like 30 or 40 breaths, then you exhale and you just stop breathing for as long as is comfortable for you. One of the keys in the second part is just realizing that you're in control and you can breathe whenever you'd like to. And then the third part is a recovery breath. At the end of the hypoventilation, you take one big inhale in, you wait about 15 seconds or whatever feels good to you, and then you exhale and you go into the next round of hyperventilation. What I find is that in the hypoventilation phase, when it's the breath hold with empty breath, that's when I can get into a really deep meditative state, and it really takes very little work at all. There's something to do with like the survival instinct of your body. We're so tied to oxygen, obviously for very good reason, that just kind of choosing not to take in oxygen for a certain amount of time, your attention goes directly into your body and your heartbeat gets really loud, and all of a sudden it's like this deep meditative state where all of your attention just quiets the mind and it's into the sensations of body. I want to show you an example in a minute, because I also want to tell you, if you push the hypoventilation phase far enough, you start to get some really strange physical aspects, and they can be totally safe, but you're always in control and you can breathe whenever you'd like. So one thing some people get is they get velociraptor arms first. I personally get like cramping in my abdominals, so you'll see me sit up like this, and it's totally involuntary. And I've learned that it's perfectly fine for me, as long as you're in a safe, soft place, like you'll see I perform this meditation on the couch. The worst thing that can happen is maybe you do hold your breath so long, if you really push it and you choose not to breathe, you could possibly go unconscious. And as long as you're in a safe, soft place, that's totally fine. You go unconscious and your autonomic systems will take over and you'll start breathing and get oxygen back into your body, and that's okay. But obviously if you perform this while you're driving or in the water, this can be extremely dangerous. So you only practice this meditation in a safe, soft place. And once you've experienced it a whole bunch of times, now I'm totally fine doing it on a hardwood floor, but I would just stop before I start getting those impacts in the hypoventilation like I was talking about. So let's go to the example. You can see in this phase I've already started hyperventilation. I'm taking in more oxygen than I need. And as I'm breathing, I've sped up this part of the video, so you just see like I'm breathing but I'm not exhaling all the way. And now let's go into the hypoventilation. You can see in the way my body is settled that I'm not breathing at all. I'm completely still, and all of my attention is just going into the sensations of body. My heartbeat gets really loud, and it feels really interesting. In the first round, it's usually really hard to extend this for a long time, so you'll see in the end I go about 45 or 50 seconds. And then here's the recovery breath. So when you go to the recovery breath, I take one deep breath in and I'm holding it for about 15 seconds or whatever feels good, and then I breathe it out, and then I'm directly back into round 2 of hyperventilation. Now I'm gonna do another 30 or 40 rounds, taking in more oxygen than I let out. So big full breaths and then not full exhales. And then at the end of the hyperventilation phase, here I go into round 2 of hypoventilation. You'll see that in round 2, I can hold my breath for quite a bit longer. One of the nice aspects of this that's just kind of a side benefit is that I've also learned to hold my breath a lot longer than I could before, which is just kind of a cool thing. Now I get those strange cramps where I'm kind of sitting up a bunch, and you can see it like it's a little bit weird, but I've just learned that this feels fine in my body. You can breathe anytime you want, so you don't have to experience any of these effects. And then the recovery breath. And now we go into round 3. One of the things you'll see in round 3, here's like hyperventilation. I'm breathing 30 or 40 times. And now we go into hypoventilation, and you'll see that I can hold my breath longer. What you don't see is the impacts in my body. I start to feel really tingly. I might feel my body temperature drop. With my attention on my heartbeat, I'm slowing my heartbeat down. Sometimes my teeth feel a little bit tingly and my fingertips and toes. And all of that really actually feels really nice. And so I just kind of choose not to breathe. Now I feel like I need to breathe, but I also realize that I'm in control and I don't have to listen to those things my body is telling me. I can choose to just continue not breathing. And then the recovery breath, and now we go into round 4. This is the end of the example I'll give you, but round 4, here's hyperventilation, then we go into hypoventilation, and usually for me, it's around round 4 or round 5 when I start to really get into a meditative state. All my attention goes into my body, and it feels so nice. And then of course, recovery breath. And now you can just see this is me kind of coming out of the meditation. I just return to breathing normally. And if you feel like you just want to continue not breathing or continue breathing, whatever feels good when you're coming out, just follow your body and do what you feel like you want to do. So that's it. That's Wim Hof breathing. And it really is like a cheat code or a trick to get directly into that deep meditative state. Now, it's not really like a sustained long-term deep meditative state. If you're interested in climbing, for example, the 8-limb path of yoga and getting towards samadhi, then this meditation is not going to carry you all the way there, but it will give you a taste of what that deep meditative state feels like. Obviously, Wim Hof breathing is named after Wim Hof, who's a Danish guy. He's super interesting and he has like a whole method of health. It's a method of health that I do follow and really appreciate, but my favorite part is the Wim Hof breathing piece. And so I would simply recommend that anyone do the Wim Hof breathing piece, and if you're interested, check out what he's all about. If you want to try out Wim Hof breathing right now, I would give you 2 different options. One would be to set timers on your phone, and then you've seen the breathing, just kind of count your breaths. It doesn't really matter how many breaths you do in the hyperventilation phase. So just kind of count and get in the ballpark of 30 or 40 hyperventilation breaths where you're taking in more oxygen, and then set timers on your phone. Go for like maybe 30 seconds in your first round and 1 minute in your second round, and maybe try to do 1 minute and 30 seconds in the third round. And no matter what goals you set in terms of those timers, you can always breathe at any time based on the way your body feels. My second option is I'll link a video in the corner up there that I actually followed for a long time before I actually subscribed to Wim Hof's app. There's a series of videos like the one that I linked in the corner. And that one is kind of very beginner style where it'll go for short amounts of times, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 1.5 minutes. After you do Wim Hof breathing a few times, you'll probably want to up it to doing the videos that are like 1 minute, 1.5 minutes or something like that. But if you just go ahead and search for Wim Hof breathing, you'll find guided meditations that are similar to that. And it's actually Wim Hof talking through them. It's just other people's videos they put on YouTube. So that's it for the cheat code, getting into a deep meditative state. If you're interested in a different type of meditation, I got one coming up here for you. This is the Stoic Yogi, out.